We just had this Three Musketeers or Six Musketeers attitude for so long, and it's still there very strongly. There's no talk or ever a question of replacing anybody or changing anything.
I love The One Thing. I think it's a great song. It was just a perfect combination of rock and roll and funk that we were trying to find for a long time, and it sort of set us off in a new direction. In fact, it went through much metamorphosis in the studio. It was a totally different song to start with. It got reworked and reworked and reworked. It took about 2 weeks with Mark Opitz as a producer. In fact, he got some great sounds on that too. He's a great producer, Mark. I guess it's a very straightforward song. About lust and devotion. We'd gone through a bunch of names. I think the last one was the Farriss brothers. We were pretending we were a country band. We had all these people turning up going, yuck, yuck, and got the wrong band, mate. In fact, one of our road crew came up and said, I reckon you should be called INXS. And we said, oh, that's a pretty neat name. I mean, it's sort of fun, you know. It's like INXS. Well, you can say INXS as in drink and drugs and whatever, but then you can say INXS as in beyond all those things. So we thought it'd be a fun name, and we thought, well, I know, what about this? We even shorten it. So we thought that was a good play on word to shorten INXS down to INXS. Inks, as some people refuse to change the name. And that's really how it came about. It's just a name. People know each other very well, have the power to pull people up or push them down, you know, and that's where the bottom line is, you know. It depends on your respect and responsibility you have for each other. And sure, there's arguments here and there, that's what makes it fun, but they get along pretty well. In fact, now I don't think we don't really sort of think in terms of they're the brothers and we're not or anything. I'm sure we're all as close to each other as the brothers.
Well, it seems to me that sexuality in music, as far as I'm concerned, is fairly important, but it's also an area that is the least understood. And people, I don't know, they seem to glamorize it or seem to make something out of it or find someone that can become a symbol for it or represent something. It's much more sensual than sexual. I'm not doing a male Madonna. It's not so pre-organized and choreographed and just what I am.
The story behind Suicide Blonde, when women used to dye their hair in the sink, you know, and deep bleach their hair in the 40s and 50s, it was, you know, dyed by their own hands. So the color was called Suicide Blonde. So I just took that and turned it into a song. It's not about killing yourself, okay? Do not do this at home.
Touring and life in general is a balance between discipline and release. And I mean, I guess if you understand that, you might as well use that knowledge. I mean, I'm interested in being around playing music for quite a while longer. I don't like the idea of burning out or blowing up or any of those choices. I'd prefer to burst my own bubble than have it burst for me through stupidity. This time Andrew wrote in the studio in an hour or so on acoustic, sitting around. He was really bored, and just got in there and wrote the song. Came and said, guys, I got a song. He's very self-effacing like that, and we said, oh great, you know. And we said, no, that's really neat. It just stands on its own 2 feet. It's very traditional. In fact, one guy from Capital Radio in London was saying, the Hollies harmonies. I mean, God, it's the last thing on our mind. But I suppose he's right. We were sort of just about finishing the album, and we wanted one extra song. We wanted something that wasn't quite as rocky as the rest of the album. It was a bit more dance and sort of funky, a bit more James Brown. So we came in on a Sunday, because we had weekends off, very civilized. And we came in on a Sunday, and we started mucking around with this feel. And I had actually written this bass line with. Came around to Andrew's place one night and said, I've got this bass line, Dun, 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 dun. And so we remembered that and sort of used that, and Andrew had some other music, some chorus and stuff like that, and put it together in about 6 hours. Came back on Monday morning and put it down straight, live. What you need.